Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, the novel, by Tomoko Kanamaki. Part 1, Something Strange. Introduction. The sun sank from the sky into the sea, and on the shore where the sea met the land, a young man muttered softly, "This world is just too small." The silver-haired youth gazed into the evening sun. How long had it been since then? In the same spot, a man in a black hooded coat stood with a large bundle over his shoulder, wrapped in a white cloth. Night had fallen over the sea where that youth once stood. In the darkness, nothing else seemed to exist aside from the sound of the waves. A white beard peeked out from underneath the black hood, suggesting the man was in his elder years, and underneath the great white sheet was a boy's face. He was neither asleep nor unconscious. He was like a doll in the man's arms, his vacant eyes opened but dazed.
"There, you see, an empty world like a prison. I imagine you'll be right at home,"
said the old man. He laid the boy against the trunk of a tree that had grown sideways on the island. He truly was no better than a doll. The white cloth enshrouding the boy's body fluttered in the sea breeze. His eyelids gently shut. Still wrapped in white, the boy descended into a deep, deep sea, dark like the womb before birth.
"Hey, where am I?"
The boy replied to a small, questioning voice.
"Who are you?"
A light spread beneath him, the white cloth came loose, and the boy touched down on the ground. The voice replied, "I'm a brand new heart." The boy peered into the pitch-black emptiness and asked,
"But why are you in my heart?"
Yes, this was inside of the boy's heart, the light at the bottom of the inky black sea, though its gleam was failing. "The light brought me. I saw it shining in the distance, and I followed it here." Placing a hand on his chest, the boy replied to the newborn heart,
"Yeah, that was my light, but my heart is fractured, and now the little I have left is slipping away."
Everything, all of it would be gone, until the little voice answered, "Then you should join your heart with mine." The boy gave a small, "Huh?" of surprise, and the fading light waxed full. As it did, the boy felt a warmth within his chest, something making him whole. "Now our hearts have touched. Nothing else will slip away, and one day you'll be strong enough to win back the part that already did."
"Right, thanks."
The boy nodded. Someday his strength would put his heart together again, and he would make himself whole. "It's time to wake up now. All we need to do is..." He knew what they had to do together, and said it aloud.
"Open the door."
The light swelled. His sight was clear, and the brilliant white glow filled his world with radiance. At last, the boy's heart was complete. He gazed up into the darkness. The old man in the black coat turned away from the boy against the trunk of the tree and began walking toward the black sea. Daybreak was near. He no longer had any reason to be here. But just before he could depart, he sensed something behind him. The boy was raising his hand toward the stars overhead, and into it flashed.
"A keyblade!"
the old man exclaimed. In the boy's hand was unmistakably a gleaming keyblade. A beam of light rose from its tip to the heavens. A smile appeared on the old man's lips. The boy's eyes opened. In his once vacant pupils was a spark, and the light of the blade streaked into the sky. Chapter 1. Land of Departure. The old man stared into the sky. The wilderness at night was devoid of anything except the blowing winds and the thousands of stars. One of them, swelling bright and radiant, suddenly slid away and fell. The old man already knew that stars would fall tonight. Within each one dwelled a world. When its star fell, the world would transform.
"Vanitas, are you prepared?"
The young man he called Vanitas stood next to the elder, also watching the shooting star. His jet-black hair matched the darkness of the night.
"We leave early tomorrow. Be sure to rest."
The old man patted Vanitas on the shoulder, and the light of recognition appeared in Vanitas' eyes.
"I can go a day or two without sleep. No problem."
Vanitas smirked. The old man, Master Xehanort, returned the smile.
"Our tale begins now, Vanitas."
"A tale?
Is that all it is?"
Vanitas put on the mask he held at his side and looked up at the sky once more. At that, the old man convulsed with deep, throaty laughter. stars streaked through the sky. 1, then 2, then 3. A boy stared up at the ceiling absent-mindedly. His blue eyes, especially striking against his longish golden hair, blinked slowly. He had to get to sleep soon, he knew, but he just couldn't. Thoughts kept swirling through his head and disappearing. Tomorrow was the Mark of Mastery exam, though he wouldn't be taking it. The examinees were his two best friends. Master, Keyblade Master to be precise, was the title given to warriors deemed worthy of a Keyblade. The boy, Ventus, sat up on his bed and let out a big sigh. The trio devoted their days to training in hopes of becoming Keyblade Masters. Ventus, or Ven as the others called him, was not upset that his two older and more experienced friends were taking the test before he could. All the same, something had him all stirred up. He was anxious. Why was he so on edge? His friends Terra and Aqua wouldn't fail the exam, no way. But there was no denying he was worried. Just then, something shone outside the window. A meteor shower! Ven pressed his face against the window, peering into the sky. Star after star was falling through the heavens. He wanted to get a better look. Ven rushed out of the room, down the stairs, and out into the yard and craned his neck at the sky. The stars were coming down between the mountains in the distance, but the view from here wasn't good enough. Ven dashed off again. He wanted to see from even closer, and the view might be better if he was higher up. He was getting winded as he hurried up the hill to the peak. The night air was just the slightest bit chilly. Wow! Ven breathed as he reached the top of the hill. He raised both hands as if to catch them as they fell, then slowly toppled backward onto the grass. The meteor shower was all he could see, and eventually he began to feel like he was floating among them. A canvas of stars, both fixed and falling. Why does this seem so familiar? He had experienced it somewhere, but he couldn't put his finger on where. The night sky seemed to be pulling him in. It's... Feeling her heart astir, Aqua closed her eyes. Her short blue hair cast a shadow on her cheeks. Training was over for the day, but she had been practicing with her Keyblade halfway up the mountain on the edge of the world. Everyone usually went through their exercises here, and she was honing her skills all alone even after sunset. Achieving the Mark of Mastery meant undergoing a trial of the heart, and yet her heart was so unsteady. It was unbecoming of a master. Aqua's hand stilled, and she sat down on a large boulder and pulled a few glimmering pendants out of her pocket. The beautifully shaped items were good luck charms, 3 of them, in different colors, one for her, one for Terra, and one for Ven, a matching set. She wondered when she'd first heard that legend. The tale had even inspired her to make these amulets because of her anxiety. She couldn't help herself. When she looked up at the sky, a shooting star fell. "It's beautiful," she whispered, cradling her knees. One by one, they streaked across the sky. It was okay. She was just tense because of the exam. Just then, Aqua sensed someone behind her and turned around. Ven had just come running up the hill to the top of the mountain. He was probably after the meteor shower. A gentle smile appeared on her face. Aqua stood up, slid open the pendants back in her pocket, and slowly followed Ven up to the peak. As she reached the top of the incline, the starry sky unfurled before her, and below it was Ven sprawled out asleep on the grass. Aqua peered softly at Ven's face. Had he conked out instantly? As she watched his sleeping visage, Aqua remembered when Ven first arrived. Back then, she'd been so concerned he might never wake up. And that was when Ven's eyes suddenly opened. Whoa! He leaped awake with a cry. Aqua couldn't help but laugh. "Give me a break, Aqua!" "Ven, you hopeless sleepyhead. Ven, you hopeless sleepyhead. You know you should have at least brought a blanket," she replied. Ven scratched his head bashfully, then glanced back up at the sky. "But did I dream that place up? It really felt like I'd been there before, gazing at the stars." Somewhere else, that anxiety came creeping back into Aqua's heart ever so slightly. Again, she recalled the state Ven was in when he arrived. There was no denying that he came from somewhere else, but neither she nor Terra knew where that place was. Not even Ven knew, apparently. He'd lost all his memories of before. Smiling to keep her worry from showing, Aqua ruffled Ven's hair. "We've always been together, haven't we?" she asked. "Yeah, that's right." Ven nodded, looked down for a moment, then sprang to his feet energetically. Still gazing upward, he walked to the edge of the cliff and plopped down again. When Aqua walked up beside him, Ven spoke with his eyes fixed on the heavens.
Aqua?
Aqua sat down next to Ven and looked at him expectantly.
You ever wonder what stars are? Where light comes from?
He asked, intently watching the starry sky. Stars, light, and also darkness. They were really difficult questions. Aqua chose her words carefully as she answered.
Well, they say that every star up there is another world.
Behind them, a deep, clear voice finished Aqua's sentence as she deliberated on how to respond. Terra's voice. The two turned around to see him walking toward them. He stopped just behind Aqua and Ven and looked up at the stars too.
Yup, hard to believe there are so many worlds out there besides our own. The light is their hearts, and is shining down on us like a million lanterns.
Aqua too gazed up at the sky as she listened to Terra's words. Yes, the light was the radiance of the world's heart, the hope of the people living within that world.
What? I don't get it.
Ven tilted his head, unsure of what Terra was getting at. With a chuckle at Ven's confusion, Terra shrugged and rephrased.
In other words, they're just like you, Ven.
Aqua's chest tightened at Terra's response. Ven's our light too.
What does that mean?
Frowning with even more bewilderment.
You'll find out someday, I'm sure,
Terra teased, but Ven wasn't having it.
I want to know now. You're too young to know now.
Quit treating me like a kid. They sounded exactly like two siblings in the midst of a squabble, and Aqua started giggling. Pfft. Terra turned to Aqua.
Hey, what are you laughing at?
I can't help it. You two would make the weirdest brothers. It was even funnier when she said it out loud, and she started laughing in earnest.
It's not that funny, Aqua.
Ven sounded upset, but there was a hint of mirth in his voice. Terra began laughing as well, and even sulky Ven finally joined them. If only they could stay like this forever, laughing beneath the starry sky. None of them had been able to sleep. Feeling just the slightest bit relieved, Terra looked at the backs of his two friends watching the sky. Wide awake, he had stepped out for a breath of fresh nighttime air and seen Ven chasing after the meteor shower. He'd headed off after Ven and found Aqua there at the peak too. Before long, they were all laughing together like always. It helped relieve the stress of the exam tomorrow. And soon as silence fell again, the three of them sat on the edge of the precipice. There was a world full of life in each of those lights. Oh yeah! Aqua stood up and turned toward Terra. Terra, you and I have our Mark of Mastery exams tomorrow. I made us good luck charms. Aqua pulled out 3 glittering objects from her pocket. They were shaped like stars, or maybe flowers. The shape could be 5 petals linked together, but they also resembled stars. Aqua tossed one each to Terra and Ven when they stood up after her. Orange for Terra and green for Ven.
I get one too?
Ven asked. Of course, she replied, and Aqua's hand was a blue star. One for each of us. Placing her charm in the palm of her hand, Aqua showed it to Terra and Ven, who followed suit and showed theirs as well. 3 stars, all in a row. Somewhere out there. With the blue star in her palm, Aqua began to explain. There's this tree with star-shaped fruit, and the fruit represents an unbreakable connection. So as long as you and your friends carry good luck charms shaped like it, nothing can ever drive you apart. You'll always find your way back to each other, she said, looking up at the sky until she finally turned to Terra and Ven with a smile. Technically, I think you're supposed to make them with seashells, but I did the best with what I had. Wanting to tease Aqua as she shrugged, Terra raised his amulet that gave off orange light to the sky.
You're such a girl sometimes,
he said. Hey, what do you mean, sometimes? Aqua grumbled, but Terra grinned unfazed. Aqua could use keyblades and magic about as well as he could.
Maybe even better,
Terra thought. She excelled at everything, and that's why he was just the slightest bit uncertain. Could he really become a master tomorrow?
If only one of us can become a master, then the one who deserves it more might even be her.
So this isn't a real good luck charm? Ven's words dispelled the thought that had popped into his mind. Well, that's yet to be seen, but I did work a little magic on it, Aqua replied. Ven grinned and asked, Really? What? An unbreakable connection. Aqua raised her blue charm skyward. No matter where we go, we'll never truly be apart.
and that power will see us through. I know it. Unbreakable connections, huh?
Ven held his good luck charm up to the sky too.
Our bond will never break, with or without these,
thought Terra. So Aqua was worried about tomorrow too. Pocketing his charm, Terra addressed the other two.
Well, tomorrow's the exam. Anyone want to spar?
In Terra's hand was a keyblade. Ven happily slipped his amulet in his pocket and turned around to stand face to face with them. I can take ya!
Fine, bring it.
Ven sprang forward. His keyblade was fast and light, though Terra still had the advantage thanks to his size. Quit going easy on me! Thoroughly disgruntled now, Ven swung his keyblade. A quick glance away told Terra that Aqua was watching them with a smile. Tomorrow he would probably have to cross keyblades with her, and most likely in earnest. With an exceptionally powerful blow, Terra knocked Ven's keyblade from his hand. Wah! Ven fell on his rear. Terra was briefly startled, but he hit it well as he helped Ven to his feet.
You still have a ways to go.
Ah, man! Ven sighed, standing and brushing off the dirt. Aqua readied her keyblade too. Did she intend on starting a round with him right here and now? Try me now, Ven. Oh, it was Ven who Aqua wanted to fight. A hard-to-describe feeling rose in Terra's chest. Part disappointment and just a bit of relief. You're going down! Ven rushed forward with keyblade in hand once more. But as with Terra, Ven wasn't ready to beat Aqua yet. She nimbly avoided Ven's attacks, fired off a little magic, and the contest was over in a flash. Ven tried to avoid the fireball and ended up stumbling. Are you okay? Aqua ran up to him in a panic, but Ven jumped to his feet without accepting her help and readied his keyblade again. That one didn't count! Let's go again! You're outmatched, Terra told Ven with a smile. Come on, I just tripped!
And that's part of why you can't win,
Terra countered. Sighing, Ven dismissed his keyblade and grinned. Trust me, you guys are ready! You're gonna clean up at the exam tomorrow!
I hope it's that easy, said Terra.
Aqua lowered her keyblade too, a complicated expression on her face. It's like the master said, power is born within the heart. A matter of the heart. It was heart, perhaps being just, not strength, that was required in a keyblade master. Still, when the time is right, you just need to look inside yourself then. You lost because you tripped, but you tripped because you're a klutz. Hey, that's mean! Ven laughed at Ven's retort. However, Terra felt her advice was meant for him.
My heart.
Terra looked at the starry sky to drive off the uncertainty. The light of all those twinkling stars was the light of people's hearts. He would be fine.
Hey, I think it's time to head back.
Terra began walking, prompting the others to follow suit. Yeah, me too! Ven nodded and hurried after him. Together, always. Turning back to Aqua as she responded, they saw her move to follow them, then stop in place to look at the night sky. In her hand was her Wayfinder charm. Terra and Ven also stopped in their tracks and gazed above. Another star fell. I wish the three of us could go stargazing again and look for shooting stars. Shall we? Aqua prompted. Terra and Ven looked at each other and nodded. With that, the trio began walking. In the darkness, Mickey proceeded forward toward a magic tome, even as the rough waters battered him. His training was grueling as the apprentice of a powerful sorcerer, as a mouse seeking to become a Keyblade master. What's more, Mickey could not have been called the greatest of pupils. Just then, a wave crashed into him head-on, tossing Mickey from atop the book. Oh no, I'm gonna drown! Or so he thought, before he found himself on a very familiar floor. Glowering down at him was the Great Wizard, and his master, Yen Sid. Mickey scratched his head awkwardly and got to his feet, ready to hear a scolding from Yen Sid, but it never came.
Mickey, I cannot shake the feeling something terrible is about to transpire.
It was the last thing Mickey expected to hear. What exactly did he mean by something terrible? From the window of the stately tower that served as his training ground, he could see the starry sky that brought together so many different worlds, and among those stars, 3 shone brightest of all. It was crisp, clear morning. Ven had overslept just a little, and he hurried to the hall where the exam was to be held. The hall was filled with the light pouring in through the stained glass. Terra and Aqua were already lined up before the 3 chairs at the front. Their instructor, Master Ericus, occupied the one on the left, and on the right sat an elderly man Ven had never seen before, leaving the center seat empty. The old man was bald and wrinkled, with a white beard and eyes gleaming gold. Ven tensed. He got the feeling those eyes had shifted over to him, fixing him with a hard expression.
Maybe that means I should get my act together.
Ven gave the creepy old man another look. Something felt odd about him, but he couldn't put his finger on what before Master Ericus's voice resounded through the hall.
Today you will be examined for the mark of mastery.
Terra, Aqua, and even Ven instantly snapped to attention. Master Ericus's thick black hair was tied back, and the distinguished beard around his mouth was well groomed. He always carried himself with dignity, but today it was especially pronounced.
Not 1, but 2 of the Keyblades chosen stand here as candidates. But this is neither a competition nor a battle for supremacy. Not a test of wills, but a test of heart. Both of you may prevail, or perhaps neither.
Master Ericus looked at Terra and Aqua in turn before turning to the old man. The old man nodded quietly.
I am sure our guest, Master Xehanort, did not travel all this way to see our youngest prospects in years fall short of the mark. I trust you are ready.
Yes. Terra and Aqua answered in unison. So the elderly man was Master Xehanort. Examining the man's face once more, Ven thought he'd heard the name before. Maybe that strange feeling was because he'd recognized the name, but they couldn't have crossed paths in the past.
Let the examination begin.
Ven snapped out of a reverie for the 3rd time at Master Ericus's declaration. The time had come. Master Ericus summoned his Keyblade into his hand and raised it high, and several balls of light appeared in the hall. Terra and Aqua readied their Keyblades, and then, for the briefest moment, Ven sensed something with a jolt.
What was that?
The balls of light meant to test Terra and Aqua began moving toward Ven. Master Ericus, Terra, and Aqua all sprang into action. "Ven!" they called. But Ven summoned his Keyblade. "Don't worry about me. You two focus on the exam." This was nothing. "But Ven, you're in danger here. Go wait in your room." With worry in her voice, Aqua knocked away the ball of light before her and started running over. "No way! I've been looking forward to this. Seeing you two become masters. I'm not gonna miss it now." Ven called back, smacking away one of the lights himself. As he battled with his own orb, Terra chimed in.
He can take care of himself. He's been out there training just as hard as us.
Ven was thrilled to hear that from Terra. "Stay sharp, Ven." And honestly, he didn't really mind Aqua's concern for him either. "Yeah!" And with that, the 3 charged toward their respective balls of light. Why was Ven suddenly involved in the test for the 2 of them? After the lights had been extinguished, Aqua looked up at Master Ericus with questions in her mind. Those orbs should never go for someone who wasn't an examinee, like Ven. Winded though he was, Ven was standing at the edge of the hall with just a hint of pride on his face, but she wanted to try and keep him out of harm's way if possible. He was training to become a Keyblade Master though, so sometimes it was unavoidable. Still, she'd been worried about him. What did Terra think of this?
That was unexpected, but one must keep a still heart even in the most trying of circumstances,
said Master Ericus.
It was an excellent test, one I chose to let unfold. Which brings us to your next trial.
Aqua corrected her posture as he spoke. She was probably the one who panicked the most, and that was because her heart was still immature. It just meant she needed more training. Masters weren't supposed to make mistakes. Maybe the master even sent the orbs after Ven on purpose.
Now, Terra and Aqua, the 2 of you will face each other in combat. Remember, there are no winners, only truths. For when equal powers clash, their nature is revealed.
First, they faced the unexpected to assess their strength of heart, and now they would face an equal. Aqua turned toward Terra, and seeing his perfect calm, she readied herself as well. Likewise, Terra moved to face her.
"Begin!"
Master Ericus called. Aqua and Terra both gripped their Keyblades and leaped. Sparks were flying between their blades, and Terra could feel each blow in his fingertips. This was the first time in a while he'd seen Aqua this intense. For a moment, he wondered if he could ever be a match for her strength. Her strength, or something else. Terra put some distance between himself and his opponent to catch his breath, but she immediately closed the gap. Their keyblades clashed again in a shower of sparks. He didn't want to lose. He couldn't afford to. Terra threw everything he had to into knocking Aqua's keyblade away and opened the distance again. I need more strength. He clenched his fists and... what is this power? An unknown force surged through Terra. Something's wrong. Unnerved, Terra opened the palm of his hand to suppress whatever the force was. It was then that Master Ericus's voice rang out.
That is enough.
Aqua was gazing at Terra intently. Nodding back at her and putting his keyblade away, Terra returned to his initial position.
Did I just... No, it'll be fine. I did the best I could. I gave it my all.
Master Ericus took a step forward. Behind him was Master Xehanort.
We have deliberated and reached a decision. Terra, Aqua, you both performed commendably. However, only Aqua has shown the mark of mastery.
Master Ericus declared. Terra was taken aback. This couldn't be possible.
Terra, you failed to keep the darkness within you sufficiently in check.
So that force was the power of darkness?
That's what that was? There's darkness in my heart? But there is always next time, that is all. Aqua, as our newest Keyblade Master, you are entitled to certain knowledge. Please wait here for further instruction.
With that, Master Ericus left, though Terra didn't remember much of what he said. As Ventus came running up to him, Master Xehanort took his leave as well. Aqua was watching him. Everything was too quiet, and something hurt in his chest.
Hey!
Terra, I'm sorry. Aqua and Ven were both trying to talk to him, but Terra wasn't in the mood for conversation.
Sorry, but I need some time alone,
he said to both of them, and he walked away without them. Someone was standing in the manor, waiting for Master Xehanort to exit the hall. Vanitas had apparently witnessed the Mark of Mastery exam from afar, and he snorted in laughter at Master Xehanort. However, Master Xehanort himself didn't seem to mind his attitude at all.
What do you make of Ventus?
He asked.
He ain't gonna cut it. Somebody's gotta break that loser in.
Vanitas replied with amusement.
Not here you won't. I have to keep up appearances.
I know that.
He just needs a little incentive to leave home.
Masking his face again, Vanitas began walking. Master Xehanort's mouth curved into a grin as he watched him leave. The worlds were astir, but there was still work to be done if they wanted to plunge them further into chaos. Upon exiting the hall, Terra sat down on the stone steps of the yard and gazed into the palm of his hand. Failing the Mark of Mastery exam was bad enough, but the momentary burst of darkness within him troubled him more, even frightened him. He had learned something of the power of darkness. He also knew the fate of a heart consumed by it, and that power was in him. He had been taught strength was necessary to conquer darkness of the heart. Strength of heart, strength of body. Honing his physical abilities would bring strength of heart in due course. If he then trained his heart in the same manner, the power of his Keyblade grew as well. He had learned all this.
There's darkness in me, so what does that matter? I know I'm strong enough to hold it back. Yes, you are indeed strong.
Terra turned around at the unexpected comment and found Master Xehanort standing there.
Master Xehanort.
Terra dipped his head at the Master's appraisal.
And yet how frustrating that Ericus refutes its power. Why, you could train with him forever and still, you'd never be a master in his eyes.
Master Xehanort shook his head softly, turning away from Terra, and began to leave. Terra followed right behind him. If Master Xehanort recognized his strength, then maybe he could save him from his newfound fear too. From his fear of the darkness.
But why? Help me understand, Master Xehanort. What is it that I have failed to learn?
Master Xehanort turned back toward him slowly.
You are fine as you are. Darkness cannot be destroyed. It can only be channeled.
Channel the darkness.
Yes, thank you, Master,
Terra replied, dropping to a knee before Master Xehanort. Placing a hand upon Terra's shoulder, Master Xehanort smiled, then went back inside the hall. Still bowing, Terra stared intently at the ground. Terra. Aqua lowered her head, staring at the pattern on the floor.
And in so much you are now Keyblade Master, you must always be conscious of...
Master Ericus's words didn't reach her at all. Though she had been recognized as Master, her concern for Terra was greater than her joy for her own success. Just then, an unfamiliar bell sounded. It was the alarm signaling trouble in the worlds. But who could have been ringing it? What is that? Master Ericus turned the pedestal around. A mirror on the back of it had begun radiating light, and he stood in front of it and began speaking. Aqua knew the mirror was for communicating with other worlds, but she had never actually seen Master Ericus use it to speak with someone. What was going on? As Aqua watched Master Ericus's back uneasily, the doors opened behind her and Terra came running in. He hopped alongside Aqua, facing the front of the hall.
What happened?
He asked. I don't know. Why isn't Ven here? Everyone was supposed to assemble in the hall if the bell rang. Aqua's gaze moved to the door anxiously.
Very well then, I will send my pupils to investigate,
said Master Ericus, and the light faded from the mirror, suggesting the communication had ended. He then turned back toward the very tense Terra and Aqua.
That was my dear old friend, Sid. As you know, he is Master no more, but he still keeps a close eye on the tides of light and darkness. His counsel serves as signpost on the road we wielders of the Keyblade must walk.
Sid, she had heard that name. He was a great sorcerer.
All the more reason then for concern, for he tells me the princesses of heart are in danger, not only from the forces of darkness, as you may assume, but also from a new threat, one that feeds on negativity, fledgling emotions that have taken monster form. Sid calls them the Unversed.
The Unversed? Being spawned from negative emotions. Why were they here now?
As wielders of the Keyblade, you are tasked with striking down any who would upset the balance of light and darkness. The Unversed are no exception. I tried to pass this news on to Master Xehanort, but my repeated attempts to reach him have failed. I doubt there is any connection, and yet, this all troubles me.
Master Xehanort had only just been here, but now he couldn't be contacted? Where had he gone?
Master Xehanort disappeared?
Terra lowered his gaze. Both he and Aqua were visibly perturbed. Master Ericus continued.
So here we are. I need you two to get this situation under control, eliminate the Unversed, and find Master Xehanort. I have unlocked the lanes between. You may use these forbidden pathways to travel between worlds and countless others. The darkness looms closer than usual within these spaces, but your armor will protect you. Lastly, remember that order must be kept. You cannot tell anyone that there are other worlds. Now go and fulfill your duty.
Yes, Master! Aqua and Terra responded in unison. This mission had came out of nowhere. They had never been tasked with anything in such a manner. Was this part of being a Keyblade Master? Either way, the timing was too perfect. Something ominous was coming. Aqua could feel beads of sweat forming on her brow.
Terra,
Master Ericus said, and Terra raised his head.
Consider this an opportunity, a second chance for you to change my mind.
What? Terra responded reflexively, his face filled with confusion.
You must know I care for you like my own son. If I could have my way, I would name you Master in a second.
Master Ericus closed his eyes and trailed off momentarily, then looked at Terra once more and continued.
But how can I when you are so obsessed with power? Terra, you mustn't be afraid of losing. Fear leads to obsession with power, and obsession beckons the darkness. You must never forget.
Terra nodded at the Master's advice and lowered his head.
Thank you, Master. I swear I will not fail you again.
Terra's expression when he stood up straight again was determined and severe. Aqua glanced at him, a little troubled. Why am I so worried? Terra could never fall to the darkness. Watching Terra turn on his heel and walk away, Aqua looked back to Master Ericus and bowed. Master, I'd best be on my way.
Wait, Aqua. Before you depart, I have one other. Well, call it a request of the utmost priority.
Yes? After he called her to a halt, Aqua looked at him expectantly. Master Ericus returned her gaze steadily, albeit with a little moisture in his eyes.
I told Terra this could be a second chance to show the mark of mastery, and I meant it. However, that flicker of darkness he displayed during the examination, I can sense it runs very deep. If those powers were to prove too much for him to handle, I want you to bring him back to me at once. It's for his own good. I could not bear to lose any of you to the darkness.
The darkness lurking within Terra was small, but unfathomably deep. Perhaps Master Ericus shared her worry. Of course, I would never let that happen. I promise you I will bring Terra back. Only this time, you will see that he has what it takes to be a master. Aqua replied, then pressed her lips together. The darkness would not take him on her watch.
I'm counting on you.
Aqua bowed firmly to Master Ericus. There was no way Terra could fall to that power. Ven had returned to his room by himself. He wasn't in the mood to watch Aqua's confirmation as a master, or maybe he just didn't know what to say to Terra even if he did go after him. Flopping onto the bed, he half-heartedly waved around a wooden keyblade. It was the beloved practice sword he'd used to train with before he was allowed to inherit a keyblade. Why had Terra failed the exam? Far as he could tell, Terra and Aqua were on equal footing in terms of ability. Just then, he heard the sound of a bell from far off. The bell. It was the alarm that warned of a disturbance in the worlds. That sound meant he had to assemble in the hall. Ven jumped off his bed and headed for the door.
Better hurry, Ventus, or you'll never see Terra again,
said a sudden voice. Ven turned around. He should have been the only one here, but someone else was standing there. It was a youth about the same height as him, wearing a black bodysuit and a menacing featureless mask. What? Get real! I can see Terra anytime I want! Ven snapped back at him. The young man, Vanitas, leaned against the shelf and replied,
Like right now, he's leaving you behind. And by the time you catch up, he'll be a different person.
He sounded completely confident. Ven wasn't a fan of this guy's attitude or what he was implying, and he raised his practice sword. Look, whoever you are, you don't know the first thing about Terra. Me and him will always be a team. You trying to pick a fight or what? Vanitas snorted derisively and walked off.
Oh, grow up. Is that what you call friendship? You'll never know the truth unless you go out and look for it yourself. Come on. What could you possibly know when you're stuck here, looking at nothing but what's in your tiny world?
Vanitas turned back to Ven for a moment, then stepped into the swirling darkness that had appeared before him. The darkness vanished along with him. What was that all about? Who was that guy? Now Ven was really worried. He dashed out of the room with his wooden sword still in hand. He sprinted down the stairs and leaped into the yard, searching for Terra. There he is! Ven ran up to him. Terra! Breathlessly, he tried to tell Terra about the boy he'd just met, only for Terra's hand to drop onto his head and stop him in his tracks, then ruffle his hair.
It's okay.
Okay? I never thought you weren't okay. That's not it. This guy said that I'd never see you again. What do you think he meant? But before he could ask, Terra tapped a portion of his shoulder guard, instantly covering his body in armor. As Ven watched, Terra smoothly tossed his keyblade into the air, where it changed into its glider form, and quickly leaped aboard. It all happened so fast, Ven didn't have a chance to get a word in. But there was still so much more he had to say. Right before Ven's eyes, Terra's keyblade glider soared into a rift in space, the entrance to the dimensional corridor. What the boy had said ran through the back of his mind.
You'll never know the truth unless you go out and look for it yourself.
If so, then he had to go too. Like Terra, Ven tapped part of his shoulder guard to activate his armor. He then threw his keyblade and jumped on once it took its glider form. Wait! Ven! He could hear Aqua's voice in the distance, but he had to go, to see Terra again, and to confirm the truth for himself. And so Ven flew after Terra into the corridor. Vanitas watched Ventus set off on his journey from the corner of the yard and gazed at the ebon gateway where he had gone. The die had already been cast. There was no need to panic. Ventus was sure to play his part well, and Master Xehanort was probably playing his role right about then too. "Wait, Ven!" He heard a woman call, and he hid himself in the shadow of a pillar. The voice had to belong to that nobody, Aqua.
No, he mustn't!
Master Ericus cried out next. He had foreseen that Aqua would go after Ven. Master Xehanort had said that Master Ericus would be an obstacle to their plans, and Vanitas agreed. He had only belonged to the light, but he knew the truth about Ven, and about Vanitas himself. Whatever kind of trap was set for Ericus, Terra would undoubtedly be involved.
You have to bring him back!
Master Ericus ordered Aqua. "Don't worry, Master," she replied. Assuming an armored form like the first two, she threw her keyblade into the air and leaped aboard it. She then plunged into the gateway just as it was about to close. Now all the players were heading for the stage, for the ocean between. Thinking it was about time he set off on his own journey, Vanitas opened a corridor of darkness, a black space connecting the worlds.
Master Xehanort.
Master Ericus whispered as he looked at the sky, just as Vanitas had. By the time he learned the whole truth, it would be too late for him. Vanitas chuckled inside his mask as he stepped into the dark corridor. It was time for the adventure to begin.